everybody. We are at the 2018 Montgomery Summit. My name is Sarah Hindlian. I am the Senior Software Analyst, and I am so lucky to have the lovely Jessica from uBiome with me today.
So glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
We're really
thank you.
excited to talk about what you're doing and all the innovation. And not only that, but it's International Women's Day, and we're both redheads.
And we're here.
And we're here together,
Amazing.
which feels kind of cool.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Kismet.
It is. All right, wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing, what your company is. Talk to me about what your main product is, and then let's get a little bit more into it.
That sounds great. Yeah, so what we do is we sequence the microbiome, which are the trillions of microorganisms that live on and in all of us. This may sound a little strange, but all of us are covered in bacteria and viruses and fungi, and that's totally normal. They should be there.
It's gross,
they
but
evolved,
it is normal.
It's gross but normal. They evolved to live on us and in us, and they're actually really good indicators of the status of our health. So which bacteria, which fungi are living on us are really important indicators of dozens of different types of health conditions. And what we do at uBiome is we map those both for consumers and then for doctors and their patients with our clinical products.
Oh, so you both do consumers, and then doctors come in and make the request to test for their patients
Exactly,
as well.
That's right. So we have two different product lines. So one is for consumers who can learn a little bit about their wellness in the microbiome. So, how does the food you eat affect your microbiome? Are your probiotics actually the ones you bought at Whole Foods? Do they actually live in your gut? Are they actually doing anything? Or on the clinical side, we have two tests. These are for doctors to order for their patients. They're reimbursed by insurance. One is called Smart Gut. It's a test for people who have chronic gut conditions like IBD or IBS to help their doctor figure out which one they're more likely to have, and then to track treatment over time. And then a test called Smart Jane for women, actually, appropriately enough. And it's a vaginal swab. It does a HPV test, test for STDs, and also a test for the vaginal microbiome. So all these bacteria are supposed to be living on us. It may sound gross, but they're actually really there to help us, and we help people understand which ones they are and how they're helping you or not helping you.
I think that's a fabulous answer, Jessica. And I personally don't think I've ever tested my microbiome. Where would I go to do?
You would know if you did.
I would know if I did. So where would I go to do this? I'd love to. I want to.
So for the consumer test, you can go online and you can just you can buy them for yourself, and it's just a swab of toilet paper. So you just swab your toilet paper, and then we tell you what's in your gut microbiome and some recommendations for what you can do to improve wellness. And then on the clinical side, you can go to your doctor. So any doctor can order the test, or we have an external network that we work with that can. If you request a test, they can consider it and decide if it's medically necessary for you.
Very interesting. So in order for your team to do this mapping, what do we as consumers really need to do to be more proactive in terms of our care? When you give us this data and you give us these insights, do we come back to you and follow up? Are we changing our diet?
Yeah, so one of the core values of uBiome is around empowerment. We started off with just the consumer side to help people better understand their health. And on the clinical side, obviously there's a doctor involved to help guide the patient, but we want to really involve the patient in their treatment. And one of the things that you can do, depending on which test it is and what the results are, we provide a lot of information and education to help people understand, what does it mean when your gut diversity is low? That's probably something you've never heard of. Most people never heard of.
No, I've never.
But
what is
generally,
that?
You want a gut microbiome to be diverse, meaning you want it to have a lot of different types of bacteria.
Okay.
Because, very roughly simplified, the bacteria are there to eat the food that you eat, and the greater variety of different types of fibers that you eat, the greater variety of bacteria, and it's protective against all sorts of things, all sorts of different kinds of risks for diabetes, obesity, colorectal cancer, very broad range of things. So we can tell you, you're low on this kind of bacteria, which eats this specific kind of fiber, so maybe you want to eat more artichokes, right? So then there's kind of something you can actually do to guide, to change your behavior to have a healthier gut microbiome. And then on the clinical side, there are much more specific recommendations for specific health conditions that might involve treatments or other kind of medical modalities other than just diet.
Do you partner with hospitals or large facilities, or how do you go about on the clinical side?
It's a great question. So we just launched Smart Gut a little over a year ago, and we just launched Smart Jane like 4 months ago. So mostly it's individual practitioners at this point, but we have a lot of research studies that we're doing with hospitals to kind of figure out how it would work in their setting. We're working with a hospital in Texas, we're working with Harvard, we're working with a number of different medical groups. And the idea is, as more and more patients use it and more and more doctors prescribe it, we'll gather the data that will lead the larger institutions to make the decision to adopt. We've had over 1,000 doctors prescribe and over 50,000 patients use it. So
oh wow,
it's pretty great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
50,000 doctors.
50,000 patients.
50,000
1,000
patients.
Yep. That's
wow,
right.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it makes a tremendous amount of sense to me to start with the gut, digestion, vaginal health, urinary health.
Yeah.
Are there other applications of this technology?
There are many applications. So those are just the ones we've launched so far. If you think about, your body is covered with trillions of microorganisms, and they affect all sorts of things. Like, you might have athlete's foot on your feet. You might have, why does your skin develop acne? These are all conditions that relate to the microbiome. So there's a kind of the future of uBiome is many things, but one of them is coming out with more tests that help people get better information about their health through bacteria and microorganisms.
I'm dying to figure out where this is going and what I can learn about my body from
it's
this
this really new
technology.
frontier. One of the great scientists in this field said that the human microbiome is a new organ that was just discovered in the past 20 years. If you think about, all the other human organs have been mapped. Like, we've known that you have a liver, we've known that you have a heart for really,
now
for
we're getting to
years.
the little particles.
We're getting to the little particles.
And the little ones.
That's exactly right. And the idea that the human microbiome weighs 3 to 5 pounds. Like, you have a lot of bacteria that you're carrying on your body. It weighs
3 to 5 pounds.
It weighs more than your brain. Yeah, of bacteria and other organisms living on your body. Yeah.
Wow.
So I know, exactly. Like, once you start digging into this, it just blows your mind. And because of that, they're very biologically active. All the microbiome absorbs all the food you eat before you do, right? Like, they live in the lining of your gut, and they interact with your food first. They interact with any medicines that you take, any supplements that you take. The microbiome is absorbing and digesting them first before you do. So it has a really profound impact on our health, and we're learning more every day about what that means and how we can make that useful to people. The mission of the company is to take all the data that we've gathered and turn it into useful stuff that people can use to make their lives better.
And Jessica, when you talk about data with the software analyst, you're going to automatically end up
talking
about artificial intelligence.
Yes, that's right.
So what are you doing there?
No, that's a great question. So we have a team of over 50 PhDs. 2/3 of our company are software engineers, PhDs, molecular biologists. And what we do is take this vast data store and use a lot of different computational techniques. So some in machine learning, some in artificial intelligence, some in more traditional statistical genetics, and we use those analytical techniques to extract data out of extract information, I should say, out of the data and use it to make better tests. For example, SmartGene is the only test in the world that genotypes HPV. They'll tell you exactly which of the 19 strains you might have. There are other tests that will genotype 2 or tell you just high or low risk, but SmartGene will tell you all 19. And we were able to do that because we had this big data store that we could do various analytical techniques, including machine learning and artificial intelligence. Yeah,
this is amazing.
It's really cool. It's fun to come to work in the morning and say, what are we learning about, and how do we actually turn that into products that can help people?
Well, Jessica, it's been such a pleasure having you.
Yeah, you too. It's been fun.
On International Women's Day. I've really enjoyed everything I've learned today.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see where you go in the future.
Me too. Thank you for interviewing me.
Very much. Pleasure.